Going to be a list of the top 21 countries that I've visited around the world altogether. As I said, I've been to 21 different countries. You can see on the screen the places that I've been to. And I'm going to go from my least favorite to my favorite country. It's going to be the course of 3 episodes. That way, not to bore you too much, and I'll just do 7 per episode leading up to 21. Now, some of these places you may agree with, some you may disagree. This is just my own personal perspective. It might be different for you. Some of the places that's at the bottom of my list you're going to love and feel like it's blasphemy for me to say that that's the worst country, but it's just based on my experience. And also, a lot of countries that I have ranked lower, I didn't spend a whole lot of time, and it might have been a day, day and a half, 2 days max. So I didn't get the full feel for that country over some of the other ones, like say Morocco, where I visited 3 different cities. All right, so country number 21 is Switzerland, my least favorite country on the list. And I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, what, Switzerland? I know a lot of y'all love Switzerland for its beauty and things of that nature. I was only there for about a day and a half. I left Morocco and went to Zurich for a day and a half on a stayover. It was my chance to get a taste of Switzerland, a quick taste. Not too engaging, but just something to say that I've been there. So I stayed in Zurich, and one of the reasons that I didn't like Switzerland is the people there are rude. And I know that this is a generalization. Obviously, not everybody in Switzerland is rude, but from my experience, beginning from the airport, to me getting on the train, to me checking into the hotel, to me even going out to Interlaken the next day, I just kept running into very rude people for absolutely no reason. I mean, it was just rude for no reason, y'all. And so, for me, I just did not like the general overall hospitality. I don't know if it was just because they were racist. I don't know if it's just because they're upset and miserable because they have such outrageous prices. I don't know what the reason is, y'all, but it just wasn't pleasant for me. And even the next day when I went to Interlaken, I was going to go to Interlaken, then go to Grindelwald. I was going to do the parasail thing or walk around the edge of the mountain and take the lift up. But while I was on the train, I was woken up by the ticket police, and they asked to see my ticket. I was brand new there. I didn't know. I got the wrong ticket. They charged me $100 on the train, right? I had to give them my credit card, and they charged me extra $100 on the train. So that ruined my whole entire day and experience. Once I got to Interlaken, I didn't even bother going to Grindelwald. I just went to the convenience store, got something to drink and some chips or something, and I caught the train all the way back to Zurich. Would I go back? Absolutely. I would love to go back, to go to Interlaken, to Grindelwald. I would love to go to Geneva. There's Swiss Alps. There's so many places in Switzerland. It's just like a personification of beauty there. But like I said, the short duration in which I was there and the rudeness of the people makes me, next on the list is Brussels, Belgium. I went to Brussels from a day trip from Amsterdam, caught the train. It was about a 4-hour ride. Once there, I started venturing out on my own. I went to the Grand Place. It's like a little market area where people go. Got great buildings with great architecture and design. A lot of the tourists hang out there. It's a heavy, hot tourist spot there. After that, I went to the Mannequin Peas. For those of you who don't know what the Mannequin Peas is, it is like a statue of a mannequin who pees out their private parts. Very disappointing. Like I said, it was super small. It was a very big tourist area. Everybody standing in front of it, wanting to take the pictures. I was honestly disappointed. Another time where something that everybody raved about was disappointing to me. After that, I did a walking tour. We took a tour of Brussels. Some of the things we did, we went to the European Union, got to take some photos and videos out there. I was disappointed because I had wanted to do a tour of the European Union, but on that specific day, they didn't do any tours. After that, we went to the Sentiment Square. I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's basically a famous park there, and as you can see, this beautiful building that I'm showing on the screen now. So that was cool, and they also have a war history museum there. The park overall was cool. After that, we went to a couple more spots, and I left and ventured out on my own. I wanted to see the Atomium. For those of you who don't know what the Atomium is, it is a atom-like structure. It has I think maybe about 6 different balls. You can go inside, and you can go to the different levels. And it's basically structured like an atom molecule. That was pretty cool. Again, I just went there and took some photos and videos. After that, I had caught the bus back to the city, and this comes into some of the reasons why Brussels was ranked second to last. Part of the reason is that, like, for example, when I first got there and got off the train, I went to use the bathroom. Inside of the bathroom stall, there was feces smeared all up against the wall. I almost threw up. I had to hold my breath the entire time. After that, as I was walking around, there was a lot of people on drugs. There was a lot of homelessness. There was a lot of people begging for money. Same thing standard that comes within any city, but it seemed like a little bit more prolific here in Brussels. Also, when I got to the train station, I went to go upstairs. Before you get upstairs, it's outside, and it was almost like a homeless encampment. It was dark, dimly lit. There was a bunch of tents, a bunch of homeless people. I'm not gonna lie, I actually felt a little bit uncomfortable until I got upstairs, and upstairs was fine. So would I go back to Brussels? Yes, absolutely. Or more importantly, would I go back to Belgium? Yes. And some of the things that I would like to go back is I would like to try Belgian waffles. I would like to try Belgian chocolate. I would like to try Belgian beer. None of which I got to do during that little quick 8-hour trip there. I also would like to go to other cities like Antwerp and Bruges. So yeah, again, I would go back to Brussels for the Belgian waffles, candy, things like that, but I was not impressed with Brussels at all. Next up is Vatican City. I know some of y'all might be surprised, but Vatican City is actually a country, believe it or not. I don't know why. It's just in the middle of Rome. It's not all that big to be a country, but I don't know. Maybe it's just ego, or maybe they just think that they're so special that they deserve a country, even though it's not even a city. But anyway, whatever. So Vatican City was cool. It was beautiful, but I just got it ranked lower down in the rankings because it's just too small. I don't really consider it a country. Of course, we know they got several things there that are absolutely beautiful and amazing, like the Vatican Museums, St. Peter's Square, Vatican Gardens, St. Peter's Basilica, and the Sistine Chapel. For me, some of the highlights were the Vatican Museum. It was like the art room where they had the maps and everything, and then all the architecture, like the gold-plated things that were in there. Sistine Chapel was absolutely amazing with the painting on the wall. Of course, St. Peter's Basilica and the square, going out there where the Pope gives his speeches and everything. It was surreal being there, just knowing that all this takes place in this area, and like I was actually there. But overall, besides the beauty and the hype around it, as far as just like this is just a must-go-to destination, it is. But again, I don't consider it a country. Is South Korea. I spent about a day and a half in South Korea. I actually was in Malaysia before South Korea, and when I was trying to find flights back home to fly back to the United States from Malaysia, it was going to be about $700. And as I kept looking around at other countries, it was only going to be less than $300 to get back to the United States from South Korea. I'd always wanted to go to South Korea. Actually, I had planned on going maybe back in 2019, but I ended up going somewhere else. So I had been wanting to go here for a while, but the main reason I went to South Korea is because I wanted to go to the DMZ. For those of you who don't know what the DMZ is, that is the demilitarized zone. That is the border between North and South Korea. So I took a day trip up there, and we had to go, before we crossed the border, we had to show the military or passports and all, and we got to see North Korea with the binoculars from the other side. We got to go inside one of the tunnels that the North Koreans made to invade South Korea. So that was pretty cool, being right there at the border, because like, how many of us in our lifetimes are going to actually get to see North Korea or possibly get that close to it? We also were able to buy North Korean dollars, or whatever the currency name is, but we were able to buy the currency for North Korea while we were there. Some of the highlights, I stayed at right near Hondick University, which is like a very lively area. There's a lot of food places. There's a bunch of bars over there. So it's like a central hub for entertainment. So that was pretty cool, staying there for the night. I walked around, I ate, did some shopping. I even walked past the clubs, but I decided not to go in because I had a flight early in the morning. The reason South Korea is rated so low is just because I just didn't get enough time to spend there. I would like to go to some of the palaces. I would like to go to their tall building that they got. I forget the name of it, that you can go inside. I would like to go to, how do you say, let me see. It is Gangnam. That's like their little financial district and hub where all the glamour and rich people and rich expensive shopping places are at. I like to do like a K-pop tour. So I would like to go back and also see some of the other cities, but like I said, it just wasn't there long enough to rank it too high. All right, next up is Malaysia, coming in at number 17. I actually enjoyed Malaysia. I enjoyed Malaysia a lot. It was way more impressive than what I thought. Like, I heard of Malaysia before, but when I was just like researching on my last trip of places to go, when I started seeing some of the pictures and beauties and buildings and things in Malaysia, I was like, I have to go there. So when I was in Vietnam, I decided to go right to Malaysia from Vietnam. Of course, there's a plane flying overhead while I'm doing this, but we'll be all right. So some of the highlights of Malaysia that I liked is obviously the Petronas Towers. I got to go to the Merdeka building, the second tallest building in the world. Unfortunately, it still wasn't open yet. That's the building that in the Netflix series where the people snuck in and climbed all the way up to the top. I got to go inside and to the top of KL Tower. Some of the things that I didn't get to do, I didn't get to go to Chinatown. A little distance out there is like a place where you take a lift up into the mountains, and up there in the mountains there's like a shopping mall, there's a hotel, there's an amusement park, like literally up in the mountains. And I wanted to do that, but I just didn't have enough time. One of the most, actually the best thing that I did was going to the Batu Caves. It's like the caves from back in the day. The main point of it, the highlight of it, was the monkeys, little badass monkeys that's up there. I got a real kick out of that. And then also there's like a Hindu temple up there. I got to try some Indian food up there. So like I said, Malaysia was great. There's a lot more that I would like to do there, but I also think that it's kind of limited in the amount of things that you could do once you've been there for a day or two. But I definitely would like to go back and explore some parts that's like further out. All right, so next up is Spain. I know some of y'all are going to be shocked that it is so low down on the list, but I actually went to Barcelona. I mean, there were some highlights in Barcelona that I liked. Got to go to the Parc Güell, got to go to the La Sagrada Familia, that famous church that I think will be finished being constructed in 2028, but it's been being constructed for decades now, but it's supposed to be done, and it's still a couple more years. I didn't get to get inside because I had a ticket to get inside, but I got back so late from Montserrat Mountain. Speaking of Montserrat Mountain is maybe about an hour or so by train outside of Spain. You take a lift up into the mountains. There's a monastery up there, and it was just so beautiful and breathtaking, the views up there. And I went to climb all the way up to the top, as far as like you could actually go without like mountain climbing. That was pretty cool, scary at times, but I enjoyed that a lot. That was one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part of being in Barcelona. Some of the other things I did in Barcelona, going to Barcelona Beach, which was cool, going to some of the bars in Barcelona. We went to this restaurant that I got off of Groupon, and it was paella. We got wine, we got an appetizer, we got dessert, and then the lady who waited on us, we became cool and talked to her. That food was excellent. Like, if you never tried paella, I would definitely suggest you try it. If you go to Spain, you can't go to Spain without trying paella. Some of the things I think about as far as Spain, as far as Barcelona, it was just kind of overrated and kind of boring to me. I was a little bit disappointed just because sometimes people hype things up so much or places up so much, and you go there and you're just kind of like, this is it. Like, it was okay, but I definitely would love to go back to Barcelona and try it again. But also, besides Barcelona, man, you got Valencia, you got Spain, you got the islands. There's so many places in Spain that you could go that's absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. I actually had planned a trip to Seville, Spain back in 2020, and it got canceled because of COVID. So I definitely want to get back to Spain, definitely to go to Seville and Valencia and to the islands, the grand whatever islands at some point. All right, last up on the list is France. I spent a day and a half in Paris. I caught the train from London to France. And once I got to Paris, my phone was dead, so I had to find a charger. Being in London on my first trip was one thing, but going to Paris was like a complete culture shock for me because like everything was in French. And like, I took 2 years of French in high school. I don't remember any of it. Bonjour, au revoir, things like that. I remember very minimum French, so it was a struggle. Like, when I first got there, like, I didn't have a charger. That's another thing. Like, if you're traveling, make sure you take some type of portable charger. I didn't have one. I had to go ask them for something to charge my phone with. They didn't understand anything I was saying, so I literally had to take my hand like this and go like this with my phone so that they could understand I'm talking about charger. Got a charger, charged my phone up. I got in France at 4 p.m. and I didn't get to my Airbnb until 11 p.m. at night. So all those hours later, that left a bad taste in my mouth on the door. Next morning I got up, I went to the catacombs. If you go to Paris, you have to go to the catacombs. For those who aren't too scary, it is a little bit morbid. You go underground, and there's about like 5 million skulls and bones down there of people who died back in the past.
What would mostly be associated with pirates?
Skull,
Yeah, the skull and the crossbones. It's funny how it's associated with pirates because that's actually a symbol of resurrection. Of course, the idea in Christianity is when you die, you're not dead, you're sleeping, you're in a place of rest, and that's why they call cemeteries a place of rest in peace. Sorry.
There's just literally like bones and skulls everywhere. Sometimes they make designs out of them and different things. Like I said, if you're morbid, it's not your thing, but I thought it was fascinating. After that, I went to the Louvre Museum, of course, where the famous Mona Lisa painting is at. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, just like Barcelona, that's something else that is absolutely overrated. It's super small. I feel like it's about this big and this wide, and it's behind glass, and you got all these damn tourists in a way. The museum is beautiful and huge, but the Mona Lisa was severely underwhelming. But I mean, you know, it's a part of history, and you get to see it if you go there. After that, I went to the Eiffel Tower. Now that is not overrated. I mean, when you go and you stand over it, under it, it's just amazingly huge. I took it all the way up to the top to see the scenic views of Paris from there. Definitely a must-do while you're there, just breathtaking. After that, I tried to do a boat ride. However, the queue was like 2 hours long. I wasn't waiting that long. And by then it was dark time and it was too late. I had planned to go to like the Notre Dame, the Arc de Triomphe. And I would love to go back to Paris to see like the Champs-Élysées. But I go back to Paris, of course. There's other places, Lyons, Marseille, Nice. There's other places in Paris that I would love to go to. But like I said, part of why the reason Paris is ranked lower is because I just didn't have enough time there, and then that whole Airbnb situation, the disconnect with the language, and then also I almost missed my plane, y'all. I got to the airport with 6 minutes to spare. I tried to catch the train and I kept making mistakes. So I ended up having to just suck it up and catch an Uber. I literally got to the airport with 6 minutes to spare before they closed the gate. So with that said, this is part 1. Stay tuned to the next episode. It'll be my top countries from number 14 to number 7. Until then, peace.